Chapter 622, Imminent Final Battle. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. A yard is a yard, favors are favors, and they have to be repaid. Keeping the secret for me is a matter of principle. I trust that you would not betray your friends, Zhang Yuochen said with a smile. A conqueror like Silvermoon was bound to become someone great in future. How could Zhang Yuochen waste her returned favor so easily? Swoosh! Zhang Yuochen wielded the rolling thunder skill, leapt into the air and set off alone like a flash of lightning. Silvermoon sighed but broke into a smile. Although she had only met Zhang Yuochen twice, the trust they had in each other was without any reservation. Perhaps this was a rapport between geniuses. Upon Zhang Yuochen's return to Quicksand Canyon, Red Wish Emissary approached him immediately. "How did you know Silvermoon, the renegade?" she asked him coldly. With an indifferent tone, Zhang Yuochen said, "Her Excellency, am I not allowed to have one or two personal friends? What's more, can't we be allies now that Silvermoon and us have a common enemy?" Red Wish Emissary is not a pedantic person. She understood the saying, there is no absolute enemy, only absolute benefits. Obviously, Silvermoon's feud was in line with her interest, which was to go against Yi. Red Wish Emissary frowned and appeared to be in deep thought, weighing the pros and cons. She finally said after a long pause, "Silvermoon is indeed very powerful. We may go ahead to battle Yi if she gives us a hand. However, Silvermoon has a very special status. If the high-level management of the black market hear that I joined efforts with Silvermoon to fight Yi, they will definitely punish me." Zhang Yuochen said, "Silvermoon just happens to take her revenge on Yi. What has it got to do with you?" Red Wish Emissary knew Zhang Yuochen's words were pure sophistry, but she didn't know how to react. This was because she knew very well that they stand a greater chance in defeating Yi in battle if they work with Silvermoon. Zhang Yuochen stared intently at Red Wish Emissary and said, "As soon as Yi dies, you would have established a firm footing. By then, you would be the most competent youth among the younger generation of black market. Even if the black market higher-level management personnel know that you rode on someone unbefitting during your battle with Yi, you would still be the only worthy candidate for the newly appointed young master." The Red Wish Emissary sneered and glared at Zhang Yuochen, saying, "Who do you think you are? Why do I have the feeling that you are more eager to get rid of Yi than me?" Zhang Ruken realized that he had raised Red Wish Emissary's suspicion by talking too much. "You will know my identity later on, but for now, dealing with Yi is top priority. We will have a second chance if we miss this opportunity." Zhang Yuochen took out the bloody parcel and handed it to Red Wish Emissary, saying, "This is Silvermoon's gift to you in demonstration of her determination." Suspicious, Red Wish Emissary took the parcel and opened it. Seeing the cyan-robed emissary's head, Red Wish Emissary's pupils dilated and felt like she was suffocating. After a long while, she repackaged the parcel and said, "This is indeed a lavish gift. However, the news of Silvermoon rushing to Eastern Evil Land will enter the ears of the high-level management of the black market. We need to move quickly. Yi is in control of great power and force. We need to have a well-thought strategy even if we plan to battle him head-on." Zhang Yuochen put his hands behind him and said, "If Yi really is in the Red Willow Heights, we can actually use the manners array to our advantage." Red Wish Emissary shook her head and said, "When Yi entered Red Willow Heights, he would have controlled the groundbreaking hub first. How can we regain control of the manners array now that we are outside of the manor?" Zhang Yuochen pondered for a while and said, "We can divide ourselves into two groups. You, taking the lead, can help distract the evil masters at Red Willow Heights, while I will go directly to the underground altar in the manor to regain the control of the array of the manor." "How would you enter the Red Willow Heights without being detected?" asked Red Wish Emissary. "I have my ways," said Zhang Yuochen. Seeing that Zhang Yuochen was so full of confidence, Red Wish Emissary stopped having further doubts. Next, Zhang Yuochen and Red Wish Emissary continued to discuss the specific plan of their attack at Red Willow Heights. Every detail had been taken into account and every step was carefully inspected to minimize any careless mistakes. This battle against Yi must be handled with care. The two finalized their plan by noon. Red Wish Emissary and Zhang Yuochen led the group of evil cultivators to a small town 50 miles from Red Willow Heights before it got dark. At the town, Red Wish Emissary had long stationed the manpower to monitor every movement in Red Willow Heights. Red Wish Emissary and Zhang Yuochen went into a tavern, sat down at a table, facing each other. An elder with a fur hat emerged from within the tavern and walked up to Red Wish Emissary, greeting her with a bow. He said, "Her Excellency." Bad news. Yi, who had entered the Red Willow Heights grounds, had secretly coordinated with Zhang Sunlan, who was outside the manor. With their joint effort, they had taken over the Red Willow Heights. Most of the people in the manor had turned renegade and subjected themselves to Yi. Those who refused to submit were destroyed. Zhang Sunlan was the master of 100 Battles School. He was once one of the most powerful masters under Red Wish Emissary. He and Xu Hong, the head of the Blood Cloud sect, were equals. When Red Wish Emissary took the masters to God-Falling Ridge, she had left Zhang Sunlan in charge over the manor. Yi could really take down Red Willow Heights with ease if Zhang Sunlan turns into a traitor. Red Wish Emissary seemed to have expected this. She appeared placid and even broke out a smile, saying, "In other words, has Yi become the owner of Red Willow Heights?" The elder wearing the fur hat said tremulously, "It is as you said. You may go." Red Wish Emissary waved her arm as she dismissed the elder. Smiling, she glanced at Zhang Yuochen and said, "It is as you anticipated, Great Guardian. It's amazing how you know Yi so well. If I was right about my guess, Yi must be sitting on the seat of honor in Sacred Willow Hall and patiently waiting for cyan-robed emissary to escort me there, before victoriously defeating me by death. Now is the moment when Yi has his guards down. It would be the best opportunity for us to strike," said Zhang Yuochen. Red Wish Emissary nodded in agreement. She got up and exited the tavern. Outside the tavern, she assigned duties to Xu Hong, Shi Buchu and other evil cultivators and gave them instructions on how to carry out their duties. Zhang Yuochen walked up to Mu Lingxi and said, "Senior Sister Apprentice, this battle with Yi is going to be extremely dangerous. I hope you." Mu Lingxi crossed her arms on her chest and interrupted. "Do you really think you can dissuade me?" "No, I can't, so I am not going to try. I would like you to stay just outside the Red Willow Heights during the battle. If our plans fail, you will be there to come to our aid, right?" Zhang Yuochen said. Mu Lingxi nodded. She gestured and said, 4 hours. I'll give you 4 hours. If you don't come out of Red Willow Heights by then, I'll barge in for an attack. 4 hours should be enough, said Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen and Red Wish Emissary sprung into action according to their plans. An hour later, Red Wish Emissary led a group of evil cultivators who pretended to have been severely injured, back to Red Willow Heights. As expected, a great commotion ensued when Red Wish Emissary arrived at the gates of Red Willow Heights, because no one would have expected Red Wish Emissary to return alive. Some people went in to report to Yi what they saw. The rest remained outside to guard Red Wish Emissary while they wait for further instructions from Yi. At the same time, Zhang Yuochen, in the shooting star invisible cloak, went to the outer boundary wall of Red Willow Heights. Testing, Zhang Yuochen outstretched his palm towards the direction of the wall, reaching a screen of white light 3 feet away from the wall before he was instantly pushed back. The defensive array of Red Willow Heights has been mobilized. Zhang Yuochen took 2 steps back, pressed his 2 fingers together in an attempt to mobilize space power. He waved his fingers and wielded one move of space crack, making a 2-meter-long breach down the screen. Swoosh. Performing a bodily movement, Zhang Yuochen entered through the breach in the array. With a push on his feet, he leapt over the wall and landed in the bamboo garden of Red Willow Heights. Zhang Yuochen was already familiar with the layout of Red Willow Heights, and with his shooting star invisible cloak on, no one could see him. It was as if Zhang Yuochen had entered into a no-man's land walking in Red Willow Heights. He soon arrived at the entrance to the underground altar. At each side of the entrance stood one glazed knight, who were of the 4th change in the fish-dragon realm level of cultivation. From the fact that Yi had stationed 2 masters by the entrance showed that he was indeed cautious and vigilant. It would be tough to get rid of them quietly given that they were monks of the 9th change in the fish-dragon realm. It was however rather unfortunate that they had bumped into Zhang Yuochen. Swoosh! Zhang Yuochen drew his abyss ancient sword. Capturing 2 lines of space marks, he wielded the swift swordsmanship and thrust his sword forward in 2 quick successions, striking the two glazed knight between their brows. Their bodies quivered slightly as a small blood spot appeared at their glabers. Although they seemed like they were still standing upright, they had actually stopped breathing. Pushing the stone gate open, Zhang Yuochen walked down the stairway and finally reached the space underground where he could see the towering altar at its center. Seated at each of the four facings of the altar was a master of arrays sitting down cross-legged. Altogether, the four masters of the array were in control of the 147 arrays in Red Willow Heights. Zhang Yuochen smiled as he walked up to the four masters of array. Right at the moment, Zhang Yuochen reached the underground space, and Yi, who was in Sacred Willow Hall, had just heard the report that Red Wish Emissary had returned from fleeing for her life, and was just outside the gate. Sitting at the uppermost part of Sacred Willow Hall, Yi kept the Sword 1 manual which he was browsing. A stunned expression appeared on his face as he said, Cyan-robed, Ice Demon, Hunter, and Zhao Hanu had joined forces to fight her. How was she able to escape? I now see Red Wish Emissary in a new light. What is the size of the company she brought back?